All right, welcome, guys. We'll be talking about elements in this section. Now we understand what HTML structure is. We know what the head does. We know what the body is. All right, what we'll be talking about is elements. Now, this is an element, HTML element. This is also an HTML element. Even this is called the root HTML element. And they are also, you can also call them tag. Instead of elements, you can alternatively say tag. All right, this is the opening tag of the head, and this is the closing tag of the head. This is the opening tag of the body, and this is the closing tag of the body. HTML element, how do you denote the closing tag of an element? It is by the forward slash. The closing tag always come with a forward slash, while the opening tag doesn't have it. There are different types of elements that we can use to format text on our browser. For instance, we have the heading elements, and the heading elements are 6 in number, called H1, which is heading 1 element. Heading 1 element. We also have H2, which is heading 2 elements. So for us to see this on our web page, we can go to our file, our folder where we have that file. Just double click on it. It asks you to open. Then we select any of your browsers. If it is Chrome, you can select Chrome, but I prefer Microsoft Edge. And then just say open, and then we see now, we see what we wrote. This is the H1 element, and this is the H2 element. The H1 element is bigger than the H2 element. And then if we write H3, and go back to our browser and then click on refresh, we see H3 element. So you can go on. We only have this to 6. So the heading tags are H1 to H6, H1, H2, and then to H6. Then we also have the paragraph element, is denoted by P, paragraph. So your text goes in here. This is a paragraph element. If we click on refresh, we see it here. I'm just going to separate my screen so we can see it on the left hand side. So, and then we also have span elements. You can say span elements, and then our browser we see it there as well, span elements. All right, HTML elements are divided into 2 main groups. Mind you, before I go into that, mind you, it is not all HTML elements that have a opening tag like this H1 and a closing tag like this H1. There are some elements that are self-closing. For instance, the image elements or the row element. This is called an horizontal row. If we refresh our page, we see this line is caused by this element. This element is known as self-closing element. It can be like this. It's known as the self-closing element. So there are some elements that are that. But HTML element itself is divided into 2 categories: the block elements and the inline elements. What are the difference between the block element and the inline element? The block element does not allow any other element to be on the same line with it. It occupies the entire line. How do we know? Look at this H1, is occupying the entire line of this browser, even if there are spaces on the right hand side, even the H2 is a block element. So all heading elements, H1 to H6, are block elements, and also the P element is also a block element. We also have another element called div. This is a divisor. We use it to group elements. It's also a block. It's also a block element. Now, but for this span is an inline element because it accommodates other elements on it. Let's write another inline element that denotes that expression. So if I say label elements, if I refresh my page, now I see span elements, and then I also see label elements on the same line. Why? Because this span element is an inline element, and this label element is also an inline element. What they do is, if there are spaces, it will allow other elements to occupy that space. But in block elements, even if there are spaces, it doesn't allow other elements to occupy the space. So they are different. So those are the difference between the block element and the inline element. All right, for this assignment, I'm going to give you an assignment before you watch the next class. You are going to list out block elements and list out inline elements. 20 block elements, 20 inline elements. All right, see you in the next class.